Hi guys, welcome to Saturday live stream. And as always, we are starting off our Saturday live stream by the comment of the week. And the comment of the week comes to us from the teaching styles of Jesus. Sorry about that. And it is from GodIsMyLight. So congratulations, God is my light. They say, Jesus Christ, Lord God Almighty, is the creator of all that exists. You see yourself wise in your own eyes. Trust in the Lord. 6. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. 7. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. 8. This will bring healing to your body and refreshment to your bones. ... Okay. Well, like I said, God is my light. Congratulations for getting comment of the week. Unfortunately, and I chose your comment for a reason. It's a very good comment, by the way. So thank you for that. I really appreciate you commenting. And I wish you would comment more because I like seeing the other side. I don't like being in an echo chamber. So thank you very much. But I think I need to point out that you assume that I see myself wise in my own eyes. That is not true. There is a lot I have to learn. There is a lot I don't know. However, the difference is that I know that there is a lot I don't know. And it seems to me like Christians, not you in particular, I am not calling out you particularly, God is my light, so please don't think I'm picking on you. But in general, it seems to me like Christians think they have it all together. They think they have all the answers. And I used to be a Christian, so I know this. You can't pull the wool over my eyes because I used to be a Christian. And just because you think you know all the answers does not mean you know all the answers. Second of all, no, I am not going to fear your God. First of all, your God doesn't exist. Second of all, if he does exist, which he doesn't, but let's go with it for a moment and let's say on the off chance he does exist, your God is a genocidal maniac. Just look at the Old Testament and you will see that I am right. Read it without the rose-colored glasses. Just read it without the rose-colored glasses for once in your life. I'm not trying to dissuade you from believing in God. That is your right. I don't really care whether you believe in God or not. All I am doing is bringing light on the subject of just how insane the Bible can be sometimes. And Christians don't like it, and I guess that's fine. It doesn't really matter to me. But like I said, thank you very much for your comment. Please comment again. I do love the interaction, and I do not want to be in an echo chamber. And, you do make me, comments like this do make me look at things in a way I used to, but don't anymore. So, again, thank you. Alright, on to Today in History. November 14th, 1969. Apollo 12 lifts off. Apollo 12, the second manned mission to the surface of the moon, is launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, with astronauts Charles Conrad Jr., Richard F. Gordon Jr., and Alan L. Bean aboard. President Richard Nixon viewed the liftoff from Pad A at Cape Canaveral. He was the first president to attend the liftoff of a manned spaceflight. 36 seconds after takeoff, lightning struck the ascending Saturn V launch rocket, which stripped the circuit breakers in the command module and caused a power failure. Fortunately, the launching rocket continued up normally, and within a few minutes, power was restored in the spacecraft. On November 19th, the landing module Intrepid made a precision landing on the northwest rim of the moon's ocean of storms. About 5 hours later, astronauts Conrad and Bean became the third and fourth humans to walk on the surface of the moon. During the next 32 hours, the two astronauts made 2 lunar walks, where they collected lunar samples and investigated the Surveyor 3 spacecraft, an unmanned U.S. probe that soft landed on the moon in 1967. On November 24th, Apollo 12 successfully returned to Earth, splashing down only 3 miles from one of its retrieval ships, the USS Hornet. So, I'm actually going to be right back. So, stay tuned. Okay, sorry about that. So now we go to our main event. And today we have Genesis 13 and 14, chapters 13 and 14. Abram and Lot. So, in chapter 13, Abram and Lot separate. So that's where we're starting. So Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev with his wife and everything he had, and Lot went with him. Now remember, Lot is his nephew, for those who need a refresher. Abram had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and gold. And for those of you who need a refresher on my view of things. This never happened. If Abraham existed, he was a chieftain. He's not the father of all of the Israelites, like the Bible says, but I'm going to get to that later. Moving on, verse 3. From the Negev, he went from place to place until he came to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Let's just stop there. You mean to tell me that Abraham is traveling from Egypt to this place he calls Bethel, and it's only when he gets to Bethel that he calls on the name of the Lord? So what happened to calling on the name of the Lord every hour of every day? That doesn't make any sense. Moving on, verse 5. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, but the land could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together, and quarreling arose between Abram's herders and Lot's. The Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land at the time. Okay, so let me stop there. Of course the Canaanites were living in the land at the time. It was their land. And believe it or not, they are still living there. They are just not called Canaanites anymore, because Canaan does not exist anymore. They are now called Israelites and Jordanians and, Saudi Arabians and Iranians and Iraqis and things like that. They're still Canaanites. The Israelites were Canaanites. Okay? Abraham did not spawn Israel. I don't know how many times I have to tell you that. If you want to know the true story of Israel, please watch my Emergence of Israel series. So, moving on, verse 8. So Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herders and mine, for we are close relatives. Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." So Abram's basically telling Lot, okay, you choose where you want to go, and wherever you want to go, I'll go the opposite of it. Okay. Verse 10. Lot looked around and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan toward Zoar was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out toward the east. The two men parted company. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. Now, let me stop there. I will get to this later on, but verse 13, now the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. That is not saying what Christians think it says. Like I said, I'll get into this later on, but the Middle Easterners of the time had a code of hospitality, and the residents of Sodom and Gomorrah were breaking the code of hospitality. It had nothing to do with homosexuality, people. Verse 14, the Lord said to Abram, after Lot had parted from him, look around from where you are, to the north and south, to the east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. So Abram went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. There he built an altar to the Lord. Okay, so let's just stop there. Again, this never happened. If Abraham existed, he was a chieftain. He was either a Canaanite himself, or he was of the Sea Peoples. If you do not know who the Sea Peoples are, again, I point you to my Emergence of Israel series. That was the end of chapter 13. Chapter 14. At the time when Amraphel was king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim. These kings went to war against Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. And I know I butchered these names. Sorry. Excuse me. All of these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is, the Dead Sea Valley. For 12 years, they had been subject to Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. Verse 5. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him went out and defeated the Raphaites in Ashtaroth Carnium, the Zizites in Ham, the Emites in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as Al-Paran near the desert. Then they turned back and went to on Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and they conquered the whole territory of the Amalekites, as well as the Amorites, who were living in Hazazon Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the valley of Siddim against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled into the hills. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food. Then they went away. They also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. A man who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. Whoa, 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 whoa. I got a major problem with that. Abraham is supposed to be the father of the Hebrews. So how is he a Hebrew? There were no Hebrews. Not if Abraham was supposed to be the father of the Hebrews. There weren't any Hebrews. How does this make any sense? Anyway, I'm going to reread part of that. Verse 13, a man who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. Now, now Abram was living near the great trees of Mamre, the Amorite, a brother of Eshcol and Aner, all of whom were allied with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abram divided his men to attack them, and he routed them, pursuing them as far as Hobah. Hello, whoever is here. North of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the women and the other people. Whatever happened to God's will being done? I mean, seriously, if God wanted to set Lot free, couldn't he have just set Lot free? Why did he need Abram's help and 318 trained men? Why? Again, does not make sense. Verse 17. After Abram returned from defeating Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Sheva, that is, the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem. This is important. This is important. King of Salem. Now, a lot of you, maybe most of you, don't know this, but Salem was the name of Jerusalem before it was named Jerusalem. So, the city of Salem is the city of Jerusalem. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abram, saying, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean there were other people worshiping God Most High besides Abraham? Are you kidding me? So, why does Abraham get God's favor and not Melchizedek, king of Salem? What's going on here? Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram gave him a tenth of everything. So, this is where the tithing comes in. And I haven't read the law in a very long time. It is very tedious, and I don't like reading it. Of course, I will get there eventually. But I do not remember God telling Moses to bring a tithe into the storehouse, like Malachi said he said. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll get there. Or if you don't remember what I'm talking about, we'll get there. But this is where the tithe comes from, as far as I remember, and I could be wrong. Hey, Free Spirit, I could be wrong, so don't hold me to it. But as far as I know, the law of Moses doesn't say anything about a tithe. This is where the tithe comes from. Abram gives Melchizedek 1/10, or a tithe, of all that he had. Verse 21, the king of Sodom said to Abram, give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom with raised hand, I have sworn an oath to the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or the strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, I made Abram rich. I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me, to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them have their share. And that is the end of chapter 14. So, a lot to think of then. To think of there. First of all, why would the Bible call Abram a Hebrew when the Hebrews didn't exist? Or did they? maybe they did exist. I ought to say I'm going to get into that. I don't know when. I have a lot of things I want to get into. Um, but basically, when we are talking about the Pentateuch is not as old as Christians think it is. It's just not. Sorry, Christians. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not. The many scholars, and I will have to put this in an edited video because I don't have time to go into it all right now. But many scholars believe that the book of the law, or particularly the book of Deuteronomy, but we may also be talking about the Pentateuch, was actually created when Josiah found the book of the law in the temple of Jerusalem. Many scholars believe that it was actually created. Then they didn't find it. Somebody wrote it. And then we know there were a bunch of redactors after that. We know it's been redacted a bunch of times. So, anyway, like I said, I'll get into that in an edited series because it's way too involved for me to get into right now. But anyway, but you have Abram. He's not Abraham yet. He's Abram. You know, like I said, if he existed, he was a chieftain. All right. He was the father of the Israelites out of your head. He wasn't. You've got Genesis misidentifying him as a Hebrew. Well, like I said, if he was the father of the Hebrews, he wasn't a Hebrew now, was he? I mean, that's obvious. And you don't see these things until you stop drinking the Kool-Aid, until you come out of whatever indoctrination you have. So, you know, and then you've got the thing about somebody's worshiping the true God before people are worshiping the true God. What kind of sense does that make? Seriously, I want to know. Christians, put your comments down in the comment section. Please, I want to know. What kind of sense does it make for Melchizedek, king of Salem, to not only be worshiping the true God, but to be a priest of the true God before worshipers of the true God even existed? I want to know what sense that makes to you. Anyway, again, I want to congratulate GodIsMyLight on Comment of the Week. A bit about Comment of the Week. You do not need to agree with me to get Comment of the Week. I do not live in an echo chamber. Um, Obviously, I like people that agree with me, but you know, you don't grow if you only surround people who agree with you. You just don't. That's just a fact of life. So please leave comments in the comment section, whether you agree with me or not. It doesn't matter. The second criterion for comment of the week is it must be on one of my edited videos. If you do not want me to choose your comment as comment of the week, just put in there somewhere, don't choose this comment of the week, or something like that, something to that effect. And I will, of course, respect your wishes. But at any rate, that's all I have for today. Thank you for dropping by, and I will see you guys later. Bye.